Chasing Legends. Hey guys, this is your extra episode for this week as promised. Happy Friday. Who's ready for the weekend? I only worked today, but I'm already ready for the weekend because that one day was enough for me with 10, 8 to 10 classes of high schoolers. I love my students, but they had a lot of energy today because it's Friday. But I'm sure that anyone is ready for the weekend. It is nice out. Finally, it's feeling like fall. I've got some chili in the crock pot, and we're going to have a bonfire tonight. Maybe make some s'mores. Anyway, today's topic is the Hat Man. And if you don't know who the Hat Man is, well, you're about to find out. He's terrifying. Most people have heard of the Hat Man, but some people say only some people can see the Hat Man. I don't know. Let me know if you've seen the Hat Man, because I'm not going to lie, I've seen him and he's scary. So the Hat Man is typically described as a tall, shadowy figure in a long coat or cloak. His most distinctive feature is his wide-brimmed hat, and this obscures much of his face. Witnesses often describe him as featureless with no discernible facial details, and some suggest he has glowing red or yellow eyes. That sounds even more terrifying than the Hat Man that I have come to know and not love. For me, he's just a black figure, like a shadowy figure. But for those of you who have woken up and seen him with glowing red or yellow eyes, I am so sorry for you, because that sounds extra terrifying. So he is known as a shadow person. And if you don't know what a shadow person is, they're the things that move out of the corner of your eyes. They are the figures that you see in the dark, or you think you see in the dark, or they're your paralysis demon. Some believe that these shadow people are ghosts, and some, just think that it's just our brain playing tricks on us, because usually it's like dark. There have been instances that people have caught these shadow people in photographs and video, and you can even just go on YouTube and look that up. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. But some of it is very, very compelling. So the Hat Man is the modern day example of a shadow person. And according to Rolling Stone, this has become a dominant character within the digital culture. Internet reports have grown, and more power has been added to this myth. And it's been added with suggestible youth, more inclined to recognize the figure in their bedroom or their own experience. But unlike shadow figures, the Hat Man is frequently reported to be more solid and more imposing. Sometimes he is described as radiating an aura of malevolence or dread. I know when I saw the Hat Man, I just wanted him to go away. He scared the crap out of me. I have a paralysis demon story. I'll get there. His movements are described as slow and deliberate. Often he's standing still and watching before he disappears into the shadows. He has become a symbol of fear and the unknown, representing the universal human dread and being watched or powerless. In pulp culture, he's been in documentaries to horror stories, and he has cemented his status as a modern-day boogeyman. Paranormal circles sometimes link the Hat Man to shadow people, and a better definition for shadow people are entities that are thought to exist in a parallel dimension or as residual energies. Others believe that these things are demonic and feeding off the fear of people. He obviously feeds off the fear that he evokes onto people. Sometimes he is described as dressed in a trench coat and a fedora. It's a very, very dapper man, the Hat Man. Acts like a ghost, almost always seen standing up, and the form can fade until the witness no longer sees it and has no apparent reaction to people. For example, many people have reported bumping into this entity, which does absolutely nothing for seconds or minutes, then moves around a bit and just vanishes as if it couldn't detect who saw it. Monster Wiki. But unlike a ghost, as mentioned before, there's no visible facial features, and in the dark, it has absolutely no discernible features. Some say he does not just simply vanish, he walks away as any normal person. And some paranormal researchers believe that he just wants to observe and study us, which don't know how I feel about that. Some say he is not dangerous. Most he is seen doing typically is just standing in the room and watching. His origins are difficult to trace, as reports of his appearance span cultures and centuries. Some researchers believe the Hat Man is a manifestation of collective fears or archetypes, a shadowy embodiment of authority, death, or the unknown. But also, if you've seen Supernatural, there's an episode where this town has a ghost story, and they believed in this ghost story so much that in this like abandoned house, it became like a real ghost story. I think there was a real ghost in there too, but the ghost story manifested itself. That's kind of like where this is going here with that. Others suggest he's linked to sleep paralysis, which is a condition in which individuals are temporarily unable to move or speak while falling asleep or waking. And during these episodes, vivid hallucinations of shadowy figures are common, with the Hat Man often appearing as a central figure. Some also say the abuse of antihistamine medicine, commonly sold under Benadryl. The hallucinations make you think that the Hat Man has come for you or to observe you, whatever you think he's there for. And typically during this mental state, he has very few or discernible features. And some witnesses have claimed that they can feel him staring at them. I'm not going to lie, though, if I was hallucinating and I thought that, I mean, I think that's just normal. I don't think that's really has to do anything with the Hat Man. The Hat Man is also said to be the form of an evil demon sent from the underworld to hurt people. And users on networks like 4chan and Reddit have a more down-to-earth explanation of why he appears, and that is, in fact, cough medicine. Don't OD on cough medicine either, please. So taking too much of these antihistamines, and these are for, like colds and allergies. So the Hat Man has become both an inside joke and a mascot to users on the forums, and they send trip reports of trying to see the figure, and that's from Rolling Stone. However, not only Benadryl can bring him out, any mind-altering substance taken in excess is thought to grant access to the Hat Man. even caffeine. Guys, just don't overdo it if you don't want to see him. Just don't overdo it. I didn't know that an excess amount of caffeine made you hallucinate. I would like to know the amount of caffeine just for science. I'm not going to drink that much caffeine. I cannot drink that much caffeine. There's no way. But my husband drinks a lot of caffeine, and now I'm a little concerned. So, reports of the Hat Man began appearing on social media and online message boards in the late 2000s. And that is the earliest that we as people have been able to track it. It has attracted widespread attention and inspired documentaries and a launch of a dedicated blog, the Hat Man Project. And this is for people who share experiences with the Hat Man. There is also a TikTok fascination with the paranormal and occult, and people on TikTok have spoken about their sleep paralysis and their Hat Man reports, like witnessing the Hat Man and any lore behind him that they make up. And the one thing you can always count on, though, is he is very consistent. The Hat Man is consistent. He even often appears in bedrooms at night. Witnesses frequently describe waking to find a figure standing in a corner or at the foot of their bed, watching silently. In some cases, it is said he moves closer, amplifying that sense of terror. There is a chilling account from a woman in Germany, and she reported seeing the Hat Man standing in her doorway during a bout of sleep paralysis. She described him as his eyes glowing faintly in the dark, his figure looming over her as she lay immobilized, and after what felt like an eternity, he vanished, leaving her shaken but unharmed. Other encounters have occurred outside of sleep paralysis, with individuals reporting that they have seen him in mirrors, dark hallways, and even outdoors at dusk. These often leave the witnesses uneasy. Online discussion forums devoted to paranormal and supernatural topics. These shadow people are described as menacing. Other believers and paranormal authors don't agree whether shadow people are evil, helpful, or neutral. Or some even speculate that these people might be extra dimensional inhabitants of another universe. So a parallel universe. Paranormal investigators and authors such as Chad Stambaugh claim to have recorded images of shadow people. Shadow people are featured in 2 episodes of ITV paranormal documentary series Extreme Ghost Stories, where the phenomena is described as a black mass. There's also one in the Dead Files. Don't ask me which episode that is. I just remembered that off the top of my head, but it is in Dead Files. It's an okay show. My husband hates it, but for other reasons. So I do have a couple, 2 or 3 sightings I found on a Reddit forum talking about the Hat Man. So Pancake Queen 101, I'm going to read this as best I can because the way she wrote it is very odd to me, at least in the first couple of sentences. I have seen one. I actually have a photo as well. I don't know if I will post it. I think this type of ghost is so common, maybe because his style of clothes was common in a good part of their lives. For instance, from the 1990s to the 1950s, if you look up men's work fashion, see this common outfit style of men's suits or coats along with hats. Considering probably a lot of these men were working for a good part of their lives, it would be reasonable to assume that ghosts can take on a form that was more comfortable or typical for them. Just a little thought on why he dresses the way he dresses. Little history there. Everyone knew that. You got the mobsters back then. They all had suits and fedoras. You know. Satanic Panic 6, which I believe I've read many accounts from Satanic Panic on multiple different subjects. What's up if you're listening? He says, or she, or they say, that's neutral. When I was 4 to 5 years old, one of my earliest memories actually, I woke up on the floor of my grandma's living room next to my sleeping mom. From where I was lying, I could see the front door, which had a window at its very top. The window was at 8 feet, like I said, at the top of the door. I could see a shadowy figure of a man in a fedora looking at me. Pulled the covers over my head, scared out of my wits. I'm 43 now, and it's still one of my most vivid memories. And then I have one more for you. This was very interesting to read. It was very detailed. It was like you were there with them. Shinobu. I have valuable information on the Hat Man, and it could be 100% true. I was on another post from a person who had 3 dreams from the Hat Man, and they had a theory that the Hat Man could be a harbinger, symbol of change. And when I experienced his visit, I had just been introduced to alcohol, and the OP had started a new medication. He visited me while intoxicated, and I saw him physically and in my dream. When I saw him in my house next to where I sleep, I felt no fear at all. But when my dream started, it was the most horrific feeling I've ever had in my life. I never drank after that, and I haven't seen him since. Though he can be a symbol of change, I've yet to discover what type of change he symbolizes. That's where people share their stories and figure out more information of where he came from and how he moves. Here are some things that I know for sure, though. He'll visit you at a conscious dream state. He will not physically harm you in person. He will attack you in your dreams, and he's seen in many different forms. While I'm writing this, I'm remembering more of what happened from my dream, and I remember passing out at his feet after I tried to cast him out. After that, I woke up in the dark alleyway, where I experienced the wave of pure evil and darkness that made my entire body shake, blood running cold, and every hair stand up on the back of my neck. 1,000 times worse than what you normally feel. And there you have it. Theory is he is a symbol of change, but what change? Nobody knows what change. So I do have my own sleep paralysis demons. It's a fun time. I haven't had sleep paralysis since, so I have no idea what's going on. But we had probably been in our house, for a little over a year because it was COVID. And I was laying in bed and I thought I was asleep. And I hear banging on the window above me. And I'm like, what is happening? Then I look over in my doorway and there is a woman and a little girl, and they're looking at me and they're like, why are you here? Needless to say, I pulled my blanket up over my head and rolled over. I was like, we're not doing this. I know for a fact I was awake. My husband says I wasn't, but I'm 100% sure that I was awake. I could move. That was the weird thing. It wasn't necessarily sleep paralysis. I could move. The next night it happened again, but this time there were heavy footsteps in my hallway. This happened same all the spirits, shadow people. It happened for like 3 nights straight, and then I never had it again. And I'd be lying if I said I haven't tried to do it again because I'm an idiot. But that was probably the most vivid, like, shadow person thing that I have had. Now, growing up in my parents' house, there was a shadow figure in the corner of my bedroom. And sometimes I thought he had a hat, sometimes I couldn't really see one. And he never moved. He just stood there. Now, apparently, according to my brother, and he's way more sensitive than I am, and I don't know if I envy him or not, because I've been trying to strengthen my senses for years. He just lays in bed, and then he's got ghosts just looking over him as he's sleeping. That's a little terrifying. Don't really want that. But he sees things. It's creepy. I don't know what his description of the man was. I'm going to be honest, I cannot remember because this was a really long time ago. We're 10 years apart. He's out of the house now. He was still in the house. So he was a little younger than 18. And that just sounded terrifying. But me, it was a shadow in the corner. Anyway, that's all I have for you today, guys. Let me know some of your stories if you have any stories. And as always, if you ghost hunt, don't forget the salt and stay spooky. Chasing Legends.